Aloha and welcome to Mike Gallagher's Oahu Real Estate Report for April 2012. This is the island of Oahu's map, and you can see up in the right hand corner most of the generalized information for Oahu that occurred during April. The significant factor here in this right hand corner is that 50%. That's 50% ACS. That means that 50% of the available inventory for single-family homes is in escrow. This is the highest figure I've ever seen since I've started tracking the numbers. Condos, conversely, are at 38%. But you have everything in the upper right-hand corner when you're looking for averages for sale, what's in escrow, what is sold. The days on market are up in the left-hand side. The up or down position of the arrows indicates whether that particular area is overperforming or underperforming the average for Oahu currently. And next to those percentages, you'll see their average for sale price and their average sold price. The red arrows are for single-family homes. The green arrows are for condos. A quick look at the map detail. You can see some areas, for instance, let's say Makakilo condos. 211% of their available inventory is in escrow, so they're in dire straits as far as not enough condos for sale in Makakilo. Conversely, you look down at the bottom right-hand corner for Hawaii Kai, they're both underperforming single-family homes and condos. Single-family homes are at 29% and the condos are at 31%. Here's another look at the ACS level for single-family homes, showing it that it's 50% of the current inventory. So you can see how it's climbed straight up ever since the beginning of the year, as a matter of fact. And it's 15% higher than it was at this time last year, back in 2011. The condo ACS percentage rate currently is at 38%, which is 4% higher than this time last year. It too is climbing just like single-family homes, which is a good sign. The only problem here that we foresee, which has not become readily apparent yet, is that inventory levels are very low right now, and that's what's primarily driving the increase in the ACS percentage rates. It's disappointing to see how low the unit sales are for single-family homes. They're off 7% from this time last year. We recorded 229 homes, which is down from 246 last year. Hopefully this is going to increase. It's going to depend upon what is available in escrow and whether or not there's ample inventory to sell in the first place. Condo unit sales are disappointing as well. They're off 12% from this time last year. It's more or less a flat line back since the end of 2010, but right now it looks like it's going down, which is not a good thing. And typically condos lead the market in a downward trend. The average sold price for Oahu's single-family homes is pretty much flatline. It doesn't fluctuate that much either way, up or down, as you can see over the course of the last 2 years. It's presently at $968,609 as compared to $994,899. So it's 3% less from last year, but no big deal. The average sold price just doesn't change all that much during the course of the year, unless of course we receive multi-million-dollar sales, and then you can see the spikes. The average sold price for Oahu's condos, again similar to single-family homes, does not go up or down that much. You can look all the way back to March 2010 and see that it was $435,000, almost $436,000. Well, today it's what, almost $436,000. So we don't see too much fluctuation in the sold prices. So I wouldn't be too concerned on what's happening in this particular area. Just as another way of keeping track of what's happening with the health of any particular market, I like to track what the percentage of inventory is actually sold. So I utilize this method, and as you can see, for the single family homes, it's up to 23% of the inventory has been sold, and it's steadily rising. A lot of this is because of the shrinking inventory amounts. The same percentage of inventory sold can be seen for Oahu's condos, and it's 1% off from where it was last year. Currently at 21%. It had gone down for a while, but it has now steadily risen. This particular graph is unique to what I do, and personally I love these graphs. This is the percentage that is truly sold at full price or more. The Honolulu Board of Realtors, every sale puts out a percentage of the list price sold. Typically it's, under 100%. But in actuality, the regular consumer doesn't have access to the data that agents have because they belong to the MLS system. So when you go to the Honolulu Board and pull a comparative market analysis, or a CMA, you'll see, like for this particular month of April 2012, the Honolulu Board reports that 41% of all the homes sold at full price or more. Well, that's just flat wrong, because I go back through each and every one of those sales and I recalculate it based upon whether or not the home showed that it had price reductions to its list price, or whether it was pulled off the market and re-entered into the market at a lower price. And only 27% of the claimed 41% sold. So the Honolulu Board claims that they sold 41% of all their listings for the month of April at 100% or more. No, that's just flat deceiving. It was only 27%. And for so far this year, all of the homes that have sold at 100% or more, the board reported that 38% have sold, when in reality only 24% sold. Another important area on this graph is just right down at the bottom. You'll see that the year-to-date average days on market for all of the homes sold on Oahu was 70 days. Well, the ones that truly sold at 100% or more, the ones that I verified, that 27%, their average days on market was 22. So when you compare 22 days to 70 days, believe me, it pays to price your home correctly in the first place. Here's the same type of graph for the condos sold at 100% or more for April. The board reported that 30% sold at 100% or more, when in reality it was 19%. So far for the year, the average has been 30%. That the board reported, 19% actually sold at full price or more. In addition to this, you got to look at it this way too. If they only sold these type of percentages, then you have to realize, okay, now wait a minute. If year to date 73% of all single family homes were priced incorrectly, if only 27% sold at full price or more year to date, and conversely 81% of condos were priced incorrectly. And I hope you understand this point. It's important to understand how to price a home in any particular neighborhood, any particular type of market. You are spinning your wheels. You are burning your own equity money if you don't do this properly. So who are the brokerages that actually sell at 100% or more to list price? Well, here it is. This is from 2 years. I wanted to track and see who my competitors were and how well they were doing. These are the very top selling volume units for brokerages on the island of Oahu, and this is how they sold at 100% or more of your listings. A little surprising, isn't it? I sure wouldn't have wanted to pick the brokerage at 16%. This is why it becomes very important. Not only the brokerage that you choose and the agent, because they can tell you anything they want. First off, the Honolulu board puts out erroneous reports of what's sold at 100% or more, which are just deceiving. And when you get the actual figures, you can actually see what the true story is. Here's a graph depicting the condos sold by the top 4 brokerages on the island of Oahu for the last 2 years. And you can see that the low is 17%, the high is 20%. So performance ranges differ from single-family homes to condos, but nevertheless, when you look at it this way, you can look at, okay, the top producer at best did 20% of all their listings at 100% or more, which means the same company mispriced 80% of their listings. This is extremely important to understand, and if anyone out there needs the names of these brokerages, give me a call. Area code 808-384-9015, and I'll let you know. Out of all the homes that have sold every year, you have to start to realize, okay, how many are listed, how many are actually sold? I call this the odds of selling. And this graph for single-family homes shows you exactly what's happening on the island of Oahu. This is stretched out from January 2011 all the way to present. From January 2012 to the end of April 2012, the average odds of selling all price ranges on the island of Oahu are only 16%. As you can see the total inventory for sale in the blue column, and actually what is sold for that month in the red column. So these are your odds, folks. Yeah, I know it doesn't look real great, but it's, if you price the home correctly, you'll get it sold. These are the odds of selling for the condos on Oahu over the same time period. So far this year, it's 17%. You can see the amount of listings compared to what is sold. Now, backing up a little bit, the graphs that I've just shown you, the last 4, the ones that sold at 100% or more, and the odds of selling, both of these categories are available by individual price ranges on my website at HawaiiRealEstateStatistics.com. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in a particular price range, I've got it completely broken down by price range. This should help both sellers and buyers tremendously in determining the correct value for their homes and what their odds are and what the chances are of selling at 100% or more. Another area of concern I have are the days on market and how they're recorded by the Honolulu Board of Realtors, which pretty much follows a lot of different boards across the nation. What they do is they track the number of days it takes for a home to go into escrow with a just accepted offer. Remember ACS, active continue to show. Those are just accepted offers. Now, if you really stop to think about this for a minute, you'll realize that these figures, like the current one for Oahu single-family homes, the current days on market, DOM, is 87 days. Well, you could also see that it's 18% increase over the same time last year. So it's taking longer for a home to go into escrow, but basically what the board is really tracking are homes that were priced correctly that go into escrow. Of course, because these are the ones that are snapped up first. So to me, this is not the way to measure DOM, or days on market. Nevertheless, this graph shows that the current days on market for single-family homes is currently at 87 days, and I'll explain further. The condos days on market shows a drop of -4% from this time last year. So in actuality, condos, the amount of time it's taking to sell one or go into escrow at least with a just accepted offer, is decreased by 4%. Now again, this is the way the Honolulu Board of Realtors tracks the days on market, which I don't believe is the correct way to do it. For single family homes, I believe the correct way to measure the days on market is how long the home has been on the market for its entire time. As you can see, for single family homes, it's at 111. This is far different from the way the board reports the actually well-priced or correctly priced homes go into escrow. This, you can look at the board's method versus this method. This shows you, I believe, the true days on market. It's at 111 days for a single family home on average to sell on Oahu currently. Here is what I call the correct method of measuring the days on market for the condos. It's currently at 103 days to sell the majority, the entire amount of condos going into escrow and sold. It's 103 days, and this is 2% above the same period last year. The next two graphs are unique to my websites as well. I call them multi-graphs. This one is for the single family homes for the month of April. The blue line, the first line at the top, is the single family home inventory for sale. It's currently at 991 as of the end of April. The red line, which is just as important, is what is in escrow right now. As you can see, the inventory is dropping from the blue line dramatically. What is going into escrow is rising, and it's at 492 single-family homes in escrow. The green line is what is sold, and that shows 229 homes sold for the month of April, and it is relatively flatline. The one thing that you want to get out of these graphs is that not only can you see how much inventory there is or the lack of inventory, but what's important is what's in escrow. Since the escrow numbers are rising, it also is going to mean that there is going to be more recorded sales at the end of the escrow period. So over the course of the next 2 months, we will see an increase in sales. Here's the multi-graph for the condos for the month of April. You can see the tremendous slide in inventory for sale. I mean, a year ago at this time, we had 1,816 condos for sale. Now we're, like 400 or less at 1,477. So the slide just continues. What's important to note here is the red line, what's in escrow. It's rising pretty steadily. So this means that over the next 2 months, we're going to have some great condo sales recorded. Currently, it looks like we're on a downslope for just a little bit. 304 recorded sales for condos. That's not a big thing. I mean, this green line is going to rise as these condos in the red line culminate into recorded sales over the next couple of months. Now, here's the real culprit of what's going on in the real estate industry on Oahu and pretty much all over the nation. The amount of new listings coming on the market just are not happening. You can see back as March 08, for that month we had 651 new listings. This month in April we had 252. And the amount of new listings that have come onto the market for single family homes is off 25% from this time last year. It's simply that a lot more would-be sellers don't want to sell in this market. They think they're going to wait until the market returns. Well, I got a news flash for you. We're pretty much at the bottom of the market now. The problem is that we're going to keep bouncing along like a little rubber ball along the bottom of the market for another 5 to 6 years unless something dramatically improves in the economy. And right now the economy, without going into politics, is not doing well. Don't listen to these guys telling you, oh, the unemployment numbers are great, the economy's getting better. No. We are at the mercy of the banks. The banks are holding close to 1.6 million foreclosures that they're going to dump on the market this summer, which is going to drive down the prices in the mainland. They will affect Oahu, but not that much. My guess is over the next 5 to 8 years, we might lose another 5% in the sold prices or equity. But that's all. We're pretty much at the bottom, folks, only we're not going anywhere for a while. So these would-be sellers are thinking, I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, you're going to wait another 5 to 8 years? Go for it. But the other side of the coin is that there's a lot more folks on Oahu now with single-family homes and condos that just don't have the equity left in order to sell at a profit. So everybody's just hanging on. And these next 1.6 million foreclosures that are supposedly coming on the market this summer, these are not bad loans like they were in the first rush of foreclosures. These are new loans from people who have good paying jobs that just can't make it anymore. This is just the way it is. The banks don't have the equity. They don't want to write off all these foreclosures at one time. Are you kidding? If the big 5 banks, which settled the whatever $1 billion that the Obama administration went after them on, well, fine, okay, so they paid the fine. Do you think they're going to write off all these foreclosures at one time? If they did, our entire banking system would fold. So what they're doing is they're trickling in the foreclosures. And you'll hear stories about, oh, foreclosures are way down. Yeah, because the banks are trickling them in because they don't have the assets to write them all off. Plus the fact everyone's gone to their legislature, including Hawaii, and enacted these insane laws to mitigate foreclosures, which, okay, they have some bearing, but it's just slowing the process down. That's why we're going to be scraping at the bottom of things for a while. Here's the slide for new listings for condos coming onto the market in Hawaii for the month of April. We had 420, which really isn't too bad. You can see the slide has come down, but it's not as pronounced as the new listings slide for single-family homes. New listings for condos are only off 4% from this time last year, whereas the single-family homes were off 25%. The reason for this is that there are a lot more condos coming onto the market. But what's important, as you'll see later on in this report, it's important to know what the inventory is and where it's coming from, but it's really important to understand how the inventory is priced by price range and in which areas on Oahu it's in. Once you understand where the inventory is by price range, you'll have a very firm grasp on what is happening in today's real estate market on Oahu, and I'll get to that in just a few short minutes. Here are the single-family homes and new listings coming on the market and what their average listing price is. Again, just like the average sold price, it really doesn't move too much. except in this case you see that huge spike there. I don't know, that must have been like a $40 million home that had come on the market in new listings. Next slide, I'll show you what the condos look like. Okay, here are the new listings average for sale price, and again, it's almost redundant and boring, but it doesn't fluctuate that much. Depending on what particular month, it might have some more expensive listings that show up in the market, so it goes up a little bit, or the next month it might go down, but overall you can see it's pretty much flatline. Now for one of my favorite parts of the show, here is what's happening with single family home inventory. Wow, big difference over the last years. I started tracking this back in actually 06, but this graph goes from 07. So there's our inventory situation. It's kind of like I said, bouncing around the bottom. Here's the current situation for Oahu's condo inventory. It too has been sliding. Kind of looks like it's bouncing along the bottom like single family homes. However, we do know, due to the amount of new listings coming on the market, it was only 4% less than this time last year. We may start to see a more pronounced flatline or even a rise. It'd be nice. There'll be a lot more condos for sale, but overall the island doesn't have really that much inventory, and that's going to stabilize the pricing, and if it hasn't done so already, which I think it has. Here is the overall condition of the months of supply on Oahu for single family homes. It's not to be confused with inventory. Inventory is an entirely different animal. Basically, the months of supply is a rate of inventory, but it's calculated by the rate of sale and average. Currently we have 4.33 months of supply at the current rate of sale, which is averaged over these first 4 months. So basically we take an average for the last 4 months sales and divide it into the current inventory, and we end up with a months of supply figure. This is done for single family homes and condos, of course, and anything considered at 6 months of supply and below is a seller's market. Anything over 6 months is considered to be a buyer's market. As you can see, you're going to hear stories about bidding wars. Yeah, in this market, I know it's hard to believe, but this is what's causing it. You've seen new listings sliding off the edge of the earth. The inventory is dramatically reduced. There's still a rate of sale. And if you're a buyer out there, you better be prepared in certain areas like Nolani Mauka or condos for Makakilo, where they're almost non-existent. You're going to have to be prepared to move quickly to purchase the home, because there are other buyers right behind you looking at the same property. Here's the months of supply for Oahu's condos. We're at 4.85, which is 10% less than this time last year, of course, because everything is sliding downwards as far as inventory. And the rate of sale is picking up. So we're at 4.85, and it's a seller's market. The same conditions apply if you're looking for a condo on Oahu. Generally, you better be quick. On this is the Oahu map of the current months of supply. As you can see up in the right hand corner, 4.33, 4.85 for condos. And again, an explanation of what does 6 months of supply mean. You can see the North Shore is like way oversupplied. It's definitely a buyer's market up there. Kaneohe single family homes at 6.37. That's a buyer's market. Most everywhere in Oahu, however, it is a seller's market. Kapolei is in a little bit of trouble, concerned as far as inventory and rate of sale. It's both the single-family homes and condos are over 6.00, so that's definitely a buyer's market. But everywhere else on the island, look at Makakilo again on their condos, 1.71 months of supply. I believe that's the lowest figure on the entire map. So it is definitely a seller's market by far on Oahu. Here's the same island map for Oahu for months of supply, but this is last year in April. So this is April 2011. You can see the differences between the two maps. If you want to go through this more slowly, the printed edition is available via PDF at my website, HawaiiRealEstateStatistics.com. And you can compare these maps side by side on the site and take a closer look at them. You know, back a year ago, we were at 6 months of supply on single-family homes. Now we're just barely above 4. Condos right now, April 2012, we're just over 4 months of supply. A year ago, we were at 5.70. You can see the conditions for the rest of the island. Back in a year ago in Hawaii Kai, the single-family homes had almost 7 months of supply. So as you can see, what has transpired in over the last year is a tremendous reduction. Here's the average for sale price currently on Oahu for single-family homes, $981,586. Again, I don't track medians anymore ever since the Honolulu board stopped doing some excellent reporting a couple years back. Actually back in, I think it was like March of 2010, they suddenly switched companies and went to the mainland to have their reports and numbers calculated and their reports issued out to the public, and the rest of the real estate agents just, in my opinion, were horrible. And I don't like medians because it's like, I don't know, being politically correct or picking a number in the middle of a bunch of numbers. I mean, when you've got a ton of inventory that is high priced, it dramatically affects the numbers. So let's tell it like it is. I mean, when you've got a ton of expensive inventory for sale, like we do on Oahu, that's where you get $981,000 for the average price of a. Here's the average for sale price of Oahu's condos right now. As you can see, it's $477,256. Actually, the most popular price range for the majority of buyers on Oahu for condo/townhomes is between $400 and $499,999. So as long as the inventory matches up, we'll continue to have good sales in this price range. You can see spikes going up and down, but occasionally that's, like I said, it's due to, you know, there's a ton of luxury condos that are on the market and are actually selling quite well, so that raises the. As I said earlier, in order to truly understand the market conditions, you have to know where the inventory is. So what we're looking at here is Oahu single-family homes in April of this year, where the inventory is by price range. You can see that 15% of the current inventory for sale is priced at $2 million plus. And if you back that up a little bit and take everything from, say, $600,000 on, that's a big chunk of expensive inventory. Now what we're going to do is show you the condos next, and also what is sold, and finally at the end of this report you'll see what is in escrow. The differences are huge. Especially what's in escrow is what you need to pay attention to, because that's kind of giving you a crystal ball as to which way buyers are headed in their purchases. So here we go. We're going to go through the rest of the remaining presentation, and we'll take it for granted that you're going to understand the market. And of course, if you have questions, you always feel free to call me. You can always go to my website at hawaiirealestatestatistics.com and get the printed form of this report. Here's what sold for the month of April 2012. And as you can see, there's a huge difference between what was for sale and what was sold. Only 3% of the listings priced at $2 million plus sold. You can see that $1 million to $1,499, there was 7% of the listings sold. And the huge winner here is 22% of the listings sold between $400 and $499. Like I said, that's where the buyers are targeting mostly on Oahu single-family homes. But you can't exclude the two 18% and 16% were sold between $500,000 and just short of $700,000. Next, we'll show you the condos without. Here's what sold for the month of April for condos. As you can see, it too is vastly different from what was listed for sale. For sale, we had 11% of the inventory priced at $800,000 plus. However, 6% of the inventory sold in that price range. But the most popular price range by far, at 17% of all sold condos on Oahu, was between $200,000 and $249,000. There were significant sales from $250,000 up to $400,000 sales as well. Finally, here's what is going into escrow for the month of April, so you can see which direction the market is headed. This is what buyers are choosing. Overwhelmingly, again, for single-family homes, the $400 to $499 price range. So it's pretty much vastly different from what you can see, what was for sale, what was sold, and now what is in escrow. Next slide will show the condos. I won't do any voiceover on that one. But like I said before, if you have any questions, you can always let me know. I'll leave you now with this last photo of beautiful Lanikai Beach. Yep, it's right there in Kailua. I live in Kailua. I love it. Again, if you folks have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. You can reach me on my cell phone, 808-384-9015. You can send me an email, mikeg@hawaii.rr.com. I thank you for your readership. I hope you've enjoyed this long report. You might want to download the PDF version as well so you can refer to it. Every month I'll be updating these reports. Please visit my website at hawaiirealestatestatistics.com. You'll find a ton of information, even on many other neighborhoods, even on condo buildings all around Oahu. Thank you, and aloha.